Hi guys, so you might notice the background's changed since my last video. I don't really have anywhere good to film. I'm very limited, so impromptu little poster moment I think is fun. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to be alternative on a budget. As someone who has kind of tried to speed build a new wardrobe in 6 months, like literally just this year, and I couldn't buy for the first part of this year because of the whole pandemic. So having to buy all my uni like homeware and wanting it to be kind of colourful and alternative and different to what you'd find in just any old store. And then clothes as well. All of my clothes are like hand-me-downs and basic things that my grandparents have bought for me because they were on discount and they were like, here you go, have a Coca-Cola shirt or something like that. Just that stuff, it doesn't really fit me and it doesn't fit my like self-expression anymore. So I feel like I should give some tips, places to go and look at when you're trying to kind of give your life a bit of an alternative boost. Now, not all of them, but some of them might be my style specific, because mine's very colourful and think kind of kidcore, hobiecore, clowncore kind of deal. But I've also been filling up with some Korean wear and also some cottagecore / dark academia kind of moments. Just because I like all the styles, so I want to have little bits of each of them. So cottagecore and kind of kidcore-y type beats and streetwear, I know it definitely applies to, because obviously those are the methods that I've been using. But for maybe things like gothic and scene, I suppose, could go into this. But you know what I mean? I can't guarantee that all styles will be covered under what I'm going to talk about today, but hopefully it'll be versatile enough that everybody kind of finds what they need. So number one tip is actually to use AliExpress for all your shopping. Well, not all of it, but specifically for clothes. And I've also found some homeware on there, like this pillow was from AliExpress. I know that in terms of things like fast fashion, we need to be cutting down, but when you're poor, it's not really an option to cut things like fast fashion out of your life. Going to places like charity shops in the UK, and specifically in a poor place in the UK, maybe if you go to London, you'll be able to thrift something that's good and wearable. But where I am, that's not really an option. All the charity shops have is like old men's like blazers and some like polo shirts, and then for the women it might be like cardigans and then a few like work blouses. So in terms of like charity shops for clothes, it's not really much of an option. You can try and dig some things out. Like I found a pink blazer once, and I got it because after BTS's comeback, I was like, oh, this looks the same as their blazers, so I'll get it and I'll style it, and it'll be like a fun little fan moment. But AliExpress is really good for really cheap and also getting a variety of styles. You can find anything on there, and that's what I think is one of the kind of universal tips for every style, because I'll show you some examples of the things that I've gotten from there so far and kind of like different styles. But it's so cheap. It might take like a month to come, but it's totally worth it. I know when I get my parcels, I'm like, oh, what came today? You can also get some homeware on there. I've gotten things like bath mats from there. I've gotten pretty much all of my bathroom homeware stuff from there. and it's good because there's a lot of things that you wouldn't find in normal stores. Like my bath mat is a lemon. It's a shape of a lemon. So it just adds kind of character to everything. You can also find stuff that's sometimes harder to find, like this Murakami pillow. Sometimes it's harder to find on things like Amazon and that, and if you do, it's really expensive. So if you're looking to be alternative on a budget and you don't have to worry about, oh, I need to buy this and have it by next week, if you're willing to wait, it's a great place to get all of your alternative clothing. I'll try and put all the links for anything shown in the description in case you're interested and you're like, I want to buy that as well. But yeah, first tip, AliExpress. Right, so my second tip, and this is more so for homeware, so kitchen stuff or just decorations as well. Look on Amazon. I don't use Amazon that much. I don't think the searching is that useful. I can never really find what I want, or like a variety and like options of what I want, unless it's something very simple. But if you look, I would advise type in novelty before whatever you want. So if you're looking for a speaker, novelty speaker, things like that, because it usually helps bring up the more kind of alternative different options. So they'll be more colourful, or there'll be a specific shape. A lot of times it'll come up with like vintage. So if you're having all your kitchenware, right, and you want all your pots to look vintage and to be based off like an old style of art, and maybe have like pin-up girls on them and stuff like that. I know I've seen that when I was looking for salt and pepper shakers. That came up and I almost bought one because I didn't know what my kitchen theme would be yet. But it can be really good. Obviously shipping's really good. With Amazon it can usually come within a few days. But I've gotten my pots and pans, I've gotten my bins from there, I've gotten my little speakers, which is a little dinosaur. Again, I'll insert videos or pictures if I can, but it can be more expensive. Obviously AliExpress is really cheap, but sometimes I definitely think it's worth it instead of either waiting for AliExpress or just going to a mainstream shop and trying to buy these little cute quirky novelty items that are coloured. I've even got my dustpan and brush from Amazon because it was purple, and I thought it just a lot of my stuff is colour blocking, so I have like yellow bins, and then I have my purple dustpan, and then my speaker is green. You know what I mean? It's all kind of like colour blocking, and that's just the way I like it. So definitely have a look at Amazon for those type of things for homeware. So tip number 3 is to use pre-used stuff. Now, I said that charity shops aren't really an option in terms of clothes from where I am, and generally if you're poorer it's not always the best option in terms of style. But I've got a few pre-used things that I've gotten off places like eBay and Etsy. So one of the things is actually this planter. So I really wanted a kitsch planter, but I couldn't find them anywhere for cheap because they were all from America and the postage was like £30, and can't afford that. But I found this on eBay for something like £15 maximum. It could have been even less than that, but it has a little clown on it and obviously all the blocks, and it's got loads of space. And you can tell it's pre-used. It's still got little pieces of dirt and stuff in there, but I can clean that up. It's just to put a plant in, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of decoration, and it's just so much cheaper than getting like a new planter from some alternative shop that's like £20-30. Like, if you want a good decorative planter, go for used, because most of the time they're in good condition. They literally are just a bit dirty because they've had a planting. So when it comes to things like this, where it doesn't matter too much about it being pre-used, then definitely go places like eBay and Etsy and try and find pre-used stuff. Now, tip number 4, at least I think it's number 4, is to hand make decorations. Now, I know people will be like, I can't do art, it's so difficult, I can't do it, it doesn't turn out right, but I promise you it is worth it. It's worth a go, because you're saving money, you're getting something that you definitely want and definitely love. It's something that you've put your energy into and you'll feel so proud afterwards. And it just, I don't know how to explain it, it just feels better. And also with a lot of alternative styles, they're not very clean cut. You know, you look at things like punk, even stuff like hobiecore and you know, clowncore and these types of things, they can be quite rough around the edges. You know, even with cottagecore, it's like homemade. So having that kind of little style as well of like, I made this and you can kind of tell that I've made it, is really cool and can add some kind of character to your room. And when people see it, they're like, oh, who made that? And you're like, I did. So I would definitely advise trying to make your own decorations. So I actually do art every now and then myself. I don't do it a lot because I find it hard to get motivated, but when I started buying uni stuff, I was like, I'm gonna need some decorations. Like, I don't want to take a lot of my kind of branded stuff and like my fan stuff and my memorabilia with me. So I want to have something that has a bit of character, and I started making my own things. And one of the things I made is this little guy here. He's just a little clown face. He's just gonna sit there, he's gonna have a great time, but it's not perfect, right? You can clearly see some fingerprints on it, you can see the paint is not perfect, but he is my favourite little guy, and I was so proud after I made him, and I was like, he's definitely gonna sit on my shelf so I can brag about the fact that I made him. You know, and I'm making another one now. It's a little trinket box, and you know, I'm going to decorate that really nicely, and it's just little touches like that that I think are going to make it feel kind of cooler. But even making your own stuff, it doesn't have to be completely from scratch like this. It can be something like painting something that you already have. So I have a fan, and it's just plain white, and it's another hand-me-down, you know, it's just something that we've shared in the family. And I was like, I need to take this with me, but I want to kind of style it up a bit. So I'll try and insert some photos or clips or whatever. But I painted cow print on it. And then I painted all the buttons and the little bits and pieces pastels, because I was like, that's going to fit my room theme, that's going to fit my aesthetic, it's really kind of versatile. So whichever way I decide to go with things, it's just going to add that little bit of personality that wouldn't have been there beforehand. So even just upscaling things, simple cow print fixes everything. Alright? I've got old storage tubs that I've just painted pink, just to give them a little bit of character. You know, so when we say do art or make things yourself or decorate them yourself, we don't mean completely make things from scratch all the time. I mean, you can. I think it's really fun, and you know, you get a good activity out of it as well. But I also mean to just, you know, add little personal touches, add stickers to things, just decorate things that beforehand weren't decorated and you think could use a little bit of personality. and that way you save loads of money on buying loads of new things. Like I don't have to buy a new fan or a new lamp because I'll just paint a cute pattern on it, and then it will be perfect and just for me, and it will fit my room. So definitely try and DIY things, and the same goes with clothes as well. If you have a vest top that you think doesn't really have much life in it anymore, make it a crop top. You know, tie something around the center and make it a little like bralette moment, you know. Just try and see where you can alter things and cut things up and paint stuff, you know, to give it a new lease of life and make it fit your aesthetic better. My final tip is just to prioritize what you really need to buy. You know, you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, save," right? Sometimes you can't save. Sometimes people aren't in the situation where they can just put stuff to the side and let it sit there and let it fester until you need it, right? So instead, just prioritize things. What I did is when I made my AliExpress and I started adding stuff, I put it all into lists of like the different styles, so I knew how much cottagecore stuff I'd bought, I knew how much Korean street fashion I'd bought and things like that. And then I had another list that was not priority. So I put everything into the right lists, and then if I felt like it wasn't something that I really need, right? So say I really need a coat. I don't have a cottagecore coat for me to wear in the winter. So that's my priority. It's very cold in the UK. It's going to be very cold up north where I go to university. So I really need a cottagecore coat. So that's my priority. So that's going to stay in the list. And then other stuff, just like a blouse. I already have a few blouses, so I don't really need that right now. So I'll pop it into my not priority list, and then once I've bought everything that I definitely am gonna need, I can go into my non-priority list and go, oh, that blouse is really pretty, I can get that now. So I don't have to worry about, have I got the right things, you know, have I got enough jumpers, have I got enough socks, you know what I mean? If you split it up into priorities, that way you can clearly make sure that your money's going towards the right things, so you don't have to worry about it as much. And then of course from priorities you can break it down into, well, I can afford this now, you know, I can afford a £10 coat now, but I know with my wages next week I can get this £30 coat, you know, and break it up like that. Because saving isn't always an option, and that is okay. Don't feel like you have to sit there and just not get anything for the longest time, especially when you're buying from places like AliExpress where, you know, it takes a month to ship. So I'm not going to be buying clothes at least a month or a month and a half before I leave, because then they'll keep getting here and I'll be gone. So they're not much use to me. So kind of think smart about shipping in accordance with what you need right now. If you need a coat, make sure you get a coat early so you can make sure that by the time a month comes around and then the shipping's finally over and you have it in time. You know, you don't want to be buying a coat in the middle of winter, because then by the time you've got it, you're not going to need it anymore. So kind of just think smart about priorities and shipping and things like that, and that should really help you get what you need at the right time, and then you can kind of cycle through things. I know what my income's like, I know what my income rate is, so I can kind of prep accordingly. So if you aren't getting a massive regular income, you know, it's like 20 quid a week just from doing a little side job, there's always ways that you can do it. It's just not on the same scale, right? So instead of getting 4 tops, you might get 1. You know what I mean? And kind of just ratio it all out according to what your income's like. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you found these tips really useful. I'm still going through things, so you know, if I find out any other ways to help you guys, I'll make sure to put it in the comments, so you can kind of see and learn from what I'm trying to do. Remember, I'm just going through this blind. I'm trying to build a whole new wardrobe as fast as I can before I get to university, because I'll finally be free and be able to, you know, wear what I want and be the adult that I want to be. Thank you for watching. Comment anything you want to comment down below. If you like this video and found it helpful, then just give it a like. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!